They condemned him, they mocked him, they crucified the Son of God, but what became of them, what fate awaited those who dared to sentence the Messiah? History whispers their names with a mixture of contempt and curiosity. Pontius Pilate, the Roman governor, Cassius Longinus, the centurion, Herod, the puppet king. Their roles in the Passion are forever etched in the annals of history. But their stories didn't end at Golgotha. Their fates serve as chilling reminders of the far-reaching consequences of choices made at the foot of the cross. Pontius Pilate, the fifth prefect of Judea, was a man of power. He held a position of immense authority appointed by the Roman Empire to maintain order in a land fraught with tension and unrest. His name was synonymous with the might of Rome, and his word was law. Appointed by Rome, he ruled with an iron fist. His governance was characterized by a strict adherence to Roman law and a ruthless suppression of any form of dissent. Pilate was not a man to be trifled with. His decisions were final and his punishments severe. His reign was marked by brutality and disdain for the Jewish people. He saw them as little more than subjects to be controlled, their customs and beliefs irrelevant in the face of Roman superiority. His administration was one of fear and oppression, with little regard for the cultural and religious sensitivities of the people he ruled. He saw them as a conquered people, their customs and beliefs beneath him. Pilate's contempt for the Jewish populace was evident in his actions and policies, which often provoked outrage and rebellion. He viewed their traditions as archaic and their resistance as futile. Little did he know, he was about to encounter a man who would challenge his worldview and seal his fate. This man, Jesus of Nazareth, would stand before Pilate not as a mere subject, but as a figure whose influence and message transcended the boundaries of Pilate's understanding. Pontius Pilate, who is this man that causes such unrest among the people? Pilate's curiosity was piqued, and he found himself drawn into a situation that was far more complex than any he had faced before. The unrest surrounding Jesus was unlike any other, stirring the hearts and minds of the people in ways Pilate could not comprehend. Pilate's encounter with Jesus would become the turning point of his life, a moment that would forever alter his legacy. The trial and crucifixion of Jesus were not just political events. They were moments of profound moral and spiritual significance that would echo through history, unraveling his authority and plunging him into historical infamy. Pilate's name would be remembered not for his power or his governance, but for his role in the crucifixion of Jesus. This single act would overshadow all else, marking the downfall of a man who once held the fate of Judea in his hands. The Roman centurion Cassius Longinus was a hardened soldier. He had served the Roman Empire for many years, rising through the ranks due to his unwavering dedication and formidable skills on the battlefield. His life was one of discipline, duty, and relentless combat. He had seen countless battles, his hands stained with the blood of many. Each conflict left its mark on him, both physically and emotionally, but he had learned to bury his feelings deep within, focusing solely on his duty. Assigned to oversee the crucifixion at Golgotha, he approached his grim task with detached professionalism. To him, it was just another assignment, another day in the life of a Roman centurion. The crucifixion was a common punishment, and he had overseen many such executions without a second thought. He had no idea that this day would change his life forever. The sky above Golgotha was unusually dramatic, with dark clouds gathering, an array of light breaking through as if nature itself was aware of the significance of the moment. Cassius Longinus, this man, there's something different about him. As he observed Jesus, he couldn't shake the feeling that this was no ordinary man. There was a sense of calm and dignity in Jesus' demeanor, even as he faced unimaginable suffering. As he watched Jesus hanging on the cross, he felt a strange stirring in his soul. It was an unfamiliar sensation, one that he couldn't easily dismiss. The words Jesus spoke, his demeanor in the face of such suffering, it was unlike anything he had ever witnessed. The words Jesus spoke, his demeanor in the face of such suffering, it was unlike anything he had ever witnessed. Jesus' compassion and forgiveness, even towards those who were crucifying him, struck a chord deep within Cassius. He found himself questioning everything he had ever known. Cassius's heart began to soften, and in that moment he found his faith. The transformation was profound. He realized that his life of violence and duty had been missing something essential. In Jesus' final moments, Cassius saw a glimpse of a higher truth, a purpose beyond the sword and shield. This realization marked the beginning of a new path for him, one of faith and redemption. Herod Antipas, the Tetrarch of Galilee, was a ruler whose reign was marked by a deep-seated paranoia and an insatiable hunger for power. He lived in constant fear of losing his authority, always looking over his shoulder, suspecting everyone around him of betrayal. His mind was a labyrinth of suspicion, where every shadow seemed to hide a potential usurper. This paranoia bred a cruelty that knew no bounds. When rumors of a miracle worker named Jesus began to spread through the land, Herod's anxiety reached new heights. Herod became obsessed with the idea that this Jesus could be the one to challenge his throne. The thought of losing his power to a man who performed miracles and gathered followers was unbearable. This fear festered within him, growing like a dark shadow over his soul. Driven by this consuming fear, Herod began to commit unspeakable acts. He ordered the arrest and execution of those he suspected of being loyal to Jesus, hoping to crush any potential rebellion before it could take root. His actions were ruthless, leaving a trail of blood and terror in their wake. Herod Antipas, this Jesus, he must be stopped. He threatens everything I've built. His words echoed through the halls of his palace, a testament to his growing madness. The more he tried to tighten his grip on power, the more it seemed to slip through his fingers. Herod's fear and obsession led him down a dark path, one that would eventually consume his sanity. He became a ruler haunted by his own demons, a man who could no longer distinguish between reality and the nightmares that plagued his mind. In the end, Herod Antipas was left a broken ruler, a shadow of the man he once was. His descent into madness was complete, leaving behind a legacy of fear and cruelty that would be remembered for generations to come. The story of Herod serves as a grim reminder of the destructive power of paranoia and the lengths to which it can drive a person when left unchecked. Section 5. The wages of sin, corruption, and conspiracy in ancient Judea. Power, like a double-edged sword, can corrupt even the most resolute soul. Such was the case with Pontius Pilate. His tenure in Judea was marred by controversy. Pontius Pilate, he was known for his heavy-handed tactics, his thirst for power often eclipsing his sense of justice. When the Jewish leaders brought Jesus before him, accusing him of sedition, I found myself caught in a web of political intrigue. Section 6. The blood of the innocents, Herod's final act of cruelty. Herod's paranoia reached its peak when he ordered the massacre of the innocents. Driven by a prophecy that a newborn king threatened his reign, he commanded the slaughter of all male infants in Bethlehem. King Herod, this horrific act, a testament to my spiraling madness, would forever stain my legacy, marking me as a tyrant of unparalleled cruelty. The cries of the mothers echoed through the ages, a chilling reminder of the depths of my depravity. Section 7. Whispers of doubt, Pilate's crisis of conscience. As Jesus stood before him, accused of blasphemy, Pilate felt a flicker of doubt. He saw no guilt in this man, no threat to Roman authority. Pontius Pilate, my wife, troubled by a dream, pleaded with me to release Jesus. Yet, pressured by the mob and fearful of sparking an uprising, I washed my hands of the matter, condemning an innocent man to a cruel and undeserved death. Section 8. A soldier's redemption. Cassius finds faith in the blood of Christ. As blood and water flowed from Jesus' pierced side, Cassius felt a profound shift within him. The earth trembled, the sky grew dark, and in that moment, he knew he had witnessed something extraordinary.
Truly this was the Son of God.
The words tumbled from his lips, an admission of both fear and newfound faith. He would later renounce his Roman allegiance, embracing the teachings of the very man he had executed. Section 9. The hand that wielded the spear. Longinus embraces his fate. Cassius's conversion did not go unnoticed. His open embrace of Christianity marked him as a traitor in the eyes of Rome. He was hunted, persecuted, and ultimately captured, yet even in the face of death, his faith never wavered. Some accounts claim he met his end by beheading, his martyrdom sealing his place as a saint in the early Christian church. Section 10. Justice served. The weight of history's verdict. History is a harsh judge, especially for those who wield power unjustly. Pontius Pilate, plagued by guilt and haunted by his decision, met a tragic end. Stripped of his position, exiled from his homeland, he is said to have taken his own life. Herod, his reign marked by bloodshed and madness, faced a similar fate. Deposed by Rome, he lived out his days in exile, a broken and forgotten king. Section 11, Echoes of the Cross, Lessons from the Lives of Jesus' Executioners. The stories of Pilate, Cassius, and Herod serve as powerful reminders of the far-reaching consequences of our choices. They remind us that even in the face of unimaginable darkness, the light of redemption can still shine through, and they challenge us to examine our own hearts, to ask ourselves, what side of history will we choose to stand on? Will we be remembered for our acts of compassion and courage, or will we be haunted by the shadows of our regrets?